Hello everybody, welcome. And this is the Midnight McBride Show, episode number 1. And I'm calling this show Soldering On. On tonight's show, I've got two gentlemen that have both been on my radio show before. I've got Darren Seigenberg.
That's the one.
And Wesley Dyson.
Evening.
How you doing, gentlemen?
I'm all right, thank you.
Good, good.
All the better for being here.
So, first of all, Darren, I'd like to talk about Mind Corps CIC.
Yeah.
Yeah. Now, I didn't know what a CIC was, so maybe explain what that is.
So it's basically it's a corporate in the community organisation that's is very similar to just what like a level below a charity in a sense. So it's it's a non-profit organisation that's basically putting money back into the community and the help for that.
Right. Okay. And what is it? What is Mind Corps CIC? I know because you've done the show with me. But maybe tell the viewers, and it's viewers now, not listeners. It's actually viewers. Yeah, we used to come in with smelly clothes on and we didn't clean our teeth or anything. But now we've actually, this is as good as it gets. We said our presentable
This
selves.
is the best F&F you can find.
I actually shaved my head and my face this morning for this. But no, Mind Corps CIC is basically it's an organisation. Like I say, it's aimed at. Initially, it was aimed at helping men with mental health issues. Then we kind of tagged on the veteran side of things as well through meeting with different organisations and like homeless shelters and the Bellasamus retreat over in Preston. Yeah,
because I don't think a lot of people realise a large proportion of people that are homeless are ex-military, aren't they?
Absolutely. And, the homeless community is just made up of a variety of people. It's not just, we have a stigma about this, whether they're, they're drug addicts or an addict.
Why did you look at Wes then when you said that?
I didn't really like that, honestly.
I'm still in recovery.
But we have the stigma for homeless people, and we think they're a particular type of people. But looking at doctors, ex-military, emergency services, all the different type of people are actually on the street.
Yeah.
For one reason or another.
Can I just say, I've actually got a sign done that says the Midnight McBride Show, and it's going there in the middle, but it's not coming till Tuesday.
That's what I was looking at.
So we're about to do the first show.
I thought
with no
you could
sign.
actually do with the sign.
So if you're wondering why it's so plain, there's a sign coming. So there we go. So Wesley, you're on the show, and the reason why I got you and Darren on a date together.
You did, yeah.
Yeah, when we went watching London Concertante, I sort of hooked you up. I just knew you'd hit it off,
Hit it off. He came in smelling like cocoa butter and cash. Just like in a Hugo Boss coat and a blue check suit and his Peaky Blinders flat cap.
Yeah.
It's the only night I've doubted my own sexuality. I was like, look,
the only night that week.
Suits you.
Yeah. But that's why I hooked you up, because I thought that you had similar interests, and a commonality between you both is you both used to work on the doors.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah. Darren, you did the club in Manchester.
I've done a number of clubs in that Manchester and Salford,
Which is the one I used to frequent, Reform.
You said you went to somewhere, you said Reform, but it was somewhere else. You kind of got it mixed up,
I did.
if I remember rightly.
Yeah.
But Reform was more of it was a wine bar, restaurant kind of area, top end of King Street at the time.
Yeah, I got it confused with the Refuge.
Yes,
which I've been to both, but it definitely went to Reform. I know you really don't want me to have been, but it did happen, and I was there.
No, not on my shift.
No.
Yeah, no, it was a good night. It was good nights in there. We had some really good times, and it was a very affluent place to be in. Before the living room.
I think when I went in, it was footballers predominantly. That kind of ilk. Yeah. Wesley, you did the door in a very high-class establishment that I used to frequent on Bridge Street, the Lake Bar.
Down Bank Street.
Bank Street, sorry, not Bridge Street.
The Lake Club, Fluid, Bergerac's, the Swan, pretty much all over Bolton.
The posh end as well.
Yeah, the posh end.
Yeah. But you both did doors, and also, Darren, you've done close personal protection as well.
Yeah. There's
You're still
private security side
working in security as well, aren't you?
Yeah,
right?
Still doing it now. It's an easy enough job, to say the least. But it's you meet a lot of interesting characters. You get your people with your egos, and you get the people without, and you get those from a different background. There's all the different cap badges and the talents and the bravado and camaraderie as well. So it's a good thing to be in. And it's always been a struggle to get into, because obviously not having that military background.
Yeah, I only know one guy that does it. I won't say his name, he might not want me to, but I know another guy that does it. But again, he wasn't military either, you know. There's lots of guys that are ex-military, but he got into it eventually. Yeah. And yeah, I think for his sake, I won't say his name. I don't even think he probably wants to be associated with it. Not with my track record anyway. So yeah. So a couple of things I was going to talk about, if that's okay. We discussed it before the show, so we had a bit of a chat to check that you were happy with it. But Wesley, first of all, condolences. I know your mother's died very recently, in the last week or so.
Yeah, last Tuesday.
Yeah. Well, there's not much to say on that, apart from very sorry about that. And
no, thank you. I mean, me and my mum, we weren't. I mean, a part of it is me and my mum weren't very close, and that was on my part, being stubborn. I was away in the army as well. We lost touch. We hardly spoke, and then when my brother told me, it's upsetting. But we've got a service next weekend, so we'll all be there for that.
Yeah, okay. So what we discussed, Darren, to raise money for Mind Corps CIC, you're putting on some charity dues.
Yeah, we've kind of decided we've gone with the GoFund page. So if anybody wants to contribute, thank you very much. That's very nice of you. If you just look up Mind Corps CIC on the GoFundMe page, that's great. Okay. I thought I'd put the plug in while I could.
Do it.
And but no, to raise more of awareness, and that is, it's not just about funding. What I keep saying, I keep getting told off for stopping people putting large amounts of funds into the pot. But for me, it's not just about the money; it's about the awareness as well. And so what we're doing is we're putting a series of events, charity evenings, adults only. Yeah. Because I kind of roped Mr. Dyson into doing a comedy kind of piece, even though he doesn't like facing us. So I'm really pushing him out of his comfort zone here.
Well, see, this is brilliant, because you started off, Wes, you were doing poetry. I think, if I explain a little bit, I think over the last 6 months you've gone through what I'd call the shift, the spiritual awakening. You started to shed a lot of your past ego, macho side, which we all had. I still have it, and I'm trying to shake that off as best I can. But then you started to express yourself playing the guitar, writing poetry, which you've always done, but I think now you're more comfortable with, showing people and talking about it and stuff. Yeah. And then Darren's sort of recognised that you have a gift for this and with the spoken word, but from a different angle with comedy. And so, stand up next. Yeah,
stand up. It, like I said, he's roped me into it. I couldn't express myself before, but I've always liked to write stuff down, or funny anecdotes that I'd seen like during the working day. It's just observational comedy. Yeah. I mean, I can't even begin to tell you half that stuff that I see during the day. But I thought, if I write it all down, pen to paper. And I was telling Darren about it, and he was in absolute hysterics over the phone. So he said, I'm roping you into this. So, you've got a couple of venues booked. I told him the first one would be free. I'm charging for the second one.
But it's exciting times, isn't it? And maybe you just both came along at the right time, because you needed somebody to make you laugh and for stand-up, but also, Darren's opportunity came along at the right time, so it's
I mean, the night at the orchestra was a big turning point, because before I've got myself a new house now. I live by myself now, and I go through that time. I think to reflect back, I need to let my past go, my ego go. Yeah. And I'd never played an instrument, so I thought I want to learn how to play the guitar. So I bought a guitar, started writing more, started reading more, and all these new opportunities have started opening up. So exciting times.
Yeah. And I think it's like what you said though, Midnight, is that he has a talent. One thing that what I notice about with Wes is seeing what's happening every day. We go through every day just meandering through. We don't notice what's things. Very much like the close protection side. I'm always saying about people being so they're elusive to what's going on around them. You know, they don't see what's going on.
Yeah.
And with Wes, he sees that and he takes it on board and he takes it an adaptation of it, and he uses it in his sketches, in his comedy and stuff like that, which is great. And if you put that into a piece together, it's also how it's changing for him, how he's changing his lifestyle, is also what can be brought to the table when it comes to the events as well, because that's what we're trying to get across. It's about how to come out of yourself, come out of those comfort zones. We can't achieve anything in a comfort zone, you know, as the saying goes. So it's about him. He's showing. He's like a testament to what we're actually trying to move forward.
I was going to say, the ideal person, any other stand-up comedian, it wouldn't have been the same. It's the fact that what you're focusing on, Wes has been through that journey, coming out the other side of it, and he can say, you know, I can do it, you know, and show people that, you know, despite adversity and trauma and all the things that you go through, especially if you've been, you know, in combat, that you can come out the other side of it.
Absolutely,
you know?
Absolutely.
I mean, I'm trying to put a book together where I'm putting little stories in and poems.
Yeah.
And at the beginning of the book, I came up with the idea, if I was to go into a room tomorrow full of 20 fresh-faced soldiers and said, right, we're going to do some meditation, I'm going to read you a poem, I'd probably get laughed out the room. They're like, what's this guy on about? But if I told them that I have been shot, I have been stabbed, I have been blown up, now I'm going to do some meditation poem, I don't think anyone, they won't make a noise. There'd be no giggles, there'd be no laughter, because I just want to say it is possible to change. It's because I got diagnosed with PTSD. And I just want to say to people that once your mind's in the right place, you can achieve anything at the end of the day, and that's where I'm at now.
Yeah, yeah. What a beautiful message.
Yeah.
Yeah. Whereas before we'd be, oh, yeah. Now we can actually say, well, you know, what a beautiful man, or, you know, these things that maybe we couldn't before, even just writing poetry. I remember when I was younger, if you wrote poetry, I won't say what names you'd get called and stuff, so you'd do it in secret. Yeah. You know, because you wouldn't want people to know that you cared or that you're emotional or that all of these things.
Well, that's it.
It's a big part of being a human being.
It's a big part of the army as well. I mean, like you've got a group of guys there. You're going like to Kosovo, Northern Ireland, Afghan, Iraq, wherever, and there's this, like you say, a bravado. There's this macho exterior, and no one can understand what you're feeling inside. Yeah. So it's like if you just pull people to one side and say, look, it's all right to be affected by what you've done, what you've seen. Just don't bottle it up. Just find someone that you can talk to and open up, because I did it for years. I kept it all on the inside, and it doesn't help. It doesn't help at all.
So, a book of poetry, Wesley. This is hot off the press. Yeah, so shall I give you a bit of a rundown on this, or do you want to go with it?
I'll let you take the reins on this one.
Okay, well, probably about 2 years ago, I think you wrote a poem. I posted a poem I've done a couple of poems that I posted on social media. I don't write many, but there's one in the book. Yeah. And the poem that you wrote, when you sent it me, I thought, actually, that's miles better than the one I've just written and published. So I thought, it must be a one-off. And it was all, I left it alone, and then you sent me a couple more, and I thought, actually, no, these are actually really good. And then you'd wrote one recently. Short poems, quite often, are a lot harder to write. To capture something in 3 or 4 lines, usually it has to be very clever and structured in a certain way. Not many people can do that. And you sent me a poem, and it was a 4-line poem, I think. And in these 4 lines, not only did it capture the sentiment, what you're experiencing at the moment, and about your journey, about letting go, self-forgiveness, but also in military speak, so that it was very clever how it was put together. So I read this and I thought, actually, this is a point now where I need to discuss this with you. So I came round to yours. Yeah. Looked like I'd had amphetamine because I was, wasn't I? Looked like I was.
Do not talk, Wes. Let me finish.
For about 2 hours, I asked you not to speak to me.
You did,
so I could just get it off my chest, because I'd already had a very clear vision of how I saw this moving forward and how it's going to get put together and what we're going to do, even sketches and things like this. But obviously, I don't write poetry occasionally, but you know, you do, and you do it very well. But because I've published a book, I have a good idea about how to put it together, the channels that are involved, who to contact, and what to do. So I thought it was a project that might with you having a bit of a difficult time at the minute as well, it's very healthy to have another focus, you know, to take your mind off it. Also, it's a very good medium with things that you might be going through to express that. And also with the poems that you'd written up to that point, you'd probably nearly had a book anyway. So I thought it was a great thing for you to be getting involved with. And not only that, I thought it'd be bloody good. No. So, you know, I swore, but I thought it was appropriate.
No, what I wrote was, when I was in the army, I wrote on a candle holder, I'd wrote what I want for my future: joy, happiness, and peace, and bliss, harmony. Basically, I was just thinking back to my past experiences and how I want to move forward. So I just said I gave as much as I could for as long as I could. And I want to be able to stand down now. So I asked for permission, because when you've been on stag in the army or you've been on a tour, you get what's called stood down. So I asked myself for permission to stand down, because for a long time I've lost friends, and I'd seen a lot of bad things. I just wanted to let it go, basically, and that's what I was asking for. And I got emotional when I was writing it all down. So.
And it's beautiful, because then you say permission granted, and you're giving yourself permission, and that's the whole point, isn't it? When you let go and self-forgiveness. And so it was beautiful, yeah, really good. So I'm trying not to repeat too much, because I've done a show with you, Darren, on the Salford City Radio, and I've done 2 shows with you now. Where's haven't I?
Well, this will be the 3rd if you're counting this one.
Yeah.
Actually, we've done 2 shows, all right? We've done 2 shows, and we did it all in one day.
But the shows I did, so I'm trying not to repeat ourselves too much, but at the same time, if the viewers are watching this for the first time, then they may not have heard the shows on the radio. So I thought, Darren, maybe you could tell us about, I know you were involved in an accident, and it wasn't that long ago.
No, 2 years ago, Christmas, the 23rd of December 2017 to be exact, or the latter minutes of it, yeah. It was wasn't quite on my Christmas present list to Santa, but it was one of those things. It was quite a traumatic thing at the time. It kind of helps in a way after it, of reflecting on what it is about going forward, but at the time it was there was 4 injured and 2 fatalities, so it was quite an impact, and it was, you know, thoughts go out to those.
That's horrific, isn't it? You know, it's
you know, I'd moved away. I'd managed to get through the melee. You know, I'd obviously hit the vehicle that was parked in the middle of the motorway. That was the problem that I had. It wasn't seen because there was no lights. Front tyres blown out.
So basically, just as a general rule of thumb, it's avoid you two, because if you're anywhere near you, chances are you're risking your life.
So believe it or not,
I'm not seeing how far away you're Santa over there. I'm staying as far away from you two as possible.
The number of times I've been on that motorway over the years, I spent not so much time going up and down when I was working in London. It's that one time that can never happen, and it's one of those things. I was just more, I suppose, in a way, gutted that I couldn't actually get out of the vehicle and go and help anybody, because I know, unfortunately, at the time, I knew straight away at least one of my legs was injured, and quite a bit of an impact. So my main concern was then to try and get onto the emergency services and get them out as quick as possible.
Yeah. I mean, in a similar vein, I've been on construction sites where people have been killed, and many times badly injured. So I have been around some pretty horrific accidents and seen these things. But I suppose when you get older, you get a little bit better at coping with it. You know, so I write about in the book, when you're a child and something traumatic happens to you, it can scar you for life. As you get a bit older, you get a little bit better at dealing with these things. And death is a big part of that. I talk about death because when somebody dies when you're younger, it's just inconceivable, and it's very difficult to even grasp and get your head around. But as you get older, certainly in the last decade, we've got such a big family. The McBride family is the Midnight McBride family, a huge family, Irish, and so there's, you know, everybody's got 8 or 10 brothers and sisters, and they've got, you know, everybody's having lots of babies, and so there's, you know, in Bolton, I wouldn't like to guess, but there might be 80 of us, 100 of us, I don't know. There was a big family, and so when you get to a certain age, a lot of these people, you know, aunties and uncles, great aunties and uncles, start passing away. So in the last decade, a lot of people have passed away, and you do start to get a little bit used to it. You know,
Can I argue that point, though?
Sure.
The fact, do we actually get used to it, or are we just still blocking it out?
That's a good question. I don't know. But I think maybe with older people, it's a bit easier to process. It's usually, when a child dies, it's usually a much more devastating phenomena than when an older person dies, because people don't feel like they've lived yet and this child's still full of life. But you get to a certain age, and certainly with my older relatives and stuff, and quite often the expression is, well, they had a good innings.
Yeah.
You say that.
They lived a full life.
Yeah. And you feel like that they've had the chance, they've had fun, they've had love, they've experienced these things, and they've had a life. But when a child passes, it's, they've not lived yet.
That was the most difficult for me. Obviously, being ex-military, I look at death differently, because sometimes it's on a daily basis. I've lost friends. Also, I've been in situations where it's been a one-on-one.
Yeah.
But it's always more difficult for me, and this is what I wanted to put in the book, was when it's involved children, and them are the ones that I'll always remember. I won't forget, because like I said, I've seen things that I'd wish on no other person, but like I say, when a child's life is affected, that's the one that sticks with me the most. Yeah,
no, I mean, you told me a story about when one of the poems you'd written about it were you ran with a child.
Yeah, it was in Kosovo in '99, when obviously genocide was going on in Kosovo while the refugees were coming down the mountains, and one of our first jobs was to put up tents for the refugees. There were celebrities there making the world aware of what was going on. I remember, I think Janet Street Port was there, Richard Gere did a bit in Kosovo as well.
Yeah.
And Princess Anne came over. One particular night with all these refugees coming down, obviously they started to take things off each other because they had nothing. And so they put sentries out at night time, with myself and a few of my mates in the army. And when I heard a woman screaming one night, and she was clutching a baby. So I wrapped the baby up in my combat jacket, and I ran to like the nearest medic's tent, but unfortunately she didn't make it. And out of all them times, that's the one that resonates with me the most. That sticks the most, because you try your best, but then you feel like it's not good enough. You're not making a difference.
Well, I'm sure you did make a difference, and Wes, I wasn't there, but I'll tell you this now, you can't blame yourself for that at all. I mean, that's war, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, one of the reasons I joined the army, I always felt like I had to look after somebody else. I didn't like bullies, I didn't, because things had happened to me when I was younger. I mean, I'm not going to go into today. When I grew up, I thought, I'm not going to let that happen to anybody else. So I took on this role of wanting to protect people, and when I was over there, I mean, the stuff that we saw, I couldn't express myself, and the only way that I could was to put pen to paper and write it down.
Yeah.
So when I said I'd give as much as I could, because now the older I'm getting, that I do it now. I ache now. I'm getting old now.
Well, and can I just say as well, we all wear glasses.
And we're all bald.
But I've told everybody we're doing this it's to set the ambience for Midnight McBride show, and it's a late night show, and quite deep and meaningful. But the reality is, we're all bald, and if I put the overhead lights on, it bounces off our head, and you can't see anything. So we've had to turn the big lights off. And then we've also got glasses, because they glare.
Yeah.
I need glasses.
So we can't see each other.
Yeah.
I mean, we're I don't want him to sat this close, to be honest. I don't know what he's reaching for, to be honest.
I'm keeping my hands in my pockets.
Right, gentlemen, we're coming close to the end of the part one of this show. We're going to have a little break shortly. And I'd just like to say that Darren Seigenberg. Yeah. I struggled with that quite a lot initially, because I thought it was Seigenberg, but it's Seigenberg, as long as I remember the C, Seigenberg. I actually made both of you today. You were coming to the show, and you had to both go back and get changed, because I think one of you was wearing blue and the other was wearing black. And unfortunately, if you wear blue here, all you can see is a head.
I brought a bag. I brought a bag of clothes.
With leotards in. Yeah. And you always have that bag before you ever did a video.
You've got it.
All right.
Well, that's an image I'm not going to get out of my head. Thanks for that.
Sorry, I'm thinking Borat.
I'm in Mankini.
We'll be right back after this short break. Thank you. Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back. This is the Midnight McBride Show, and I'm joined by Darren Seigenberg and Wesley Dyson.
Hello.
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 He's got his glasses on now.
I know he has, hasn't he? You told us about not wearing glasses.
I forgot.
It's the glare.
The problem is my show notes. I can't read them, so we'll just wing it.
Just put the page up to your face. Hello, ladies and gentlemen.
And are you saying that's an improvement?
No, that's like Darren. He's got a face for radio.
I have got a face for radio.
We were just talking off air then that you do voices, Wesley.
I knew this one was going to come.
Do you do voices or do you hear voices?
Both.
But you used to, I remember when I first met you, you always used to recite parts of films and things like that. You'd remember them. But I'm not asking you, you don't have to do that now, but you do voices.
Occasionally.
I didn't know this.
Occasionally. No, what it is when I watch a film, I've always had a thing for remembering certain phrases or like different sports personalities or film stars or characters. Like it all started with Star Wars when I was a kid, because obviously I've got 3 brothers, so we used to always compete who could do like the best Yoda or the best Jar Jar Binks. Or
How do you do Jar Jar Binks? Oh, Jar Jar Binks. I was thinking of Jabba the Hutt. I thought, how do you do it? Ah, yes.
Yes.
Very good. So, you both got kids.
Yes.
Yes. Darren, I've met your daughter because she came in to do the radio show, didn't she?
Yes, she did, yes.
What's
thanks.
your daughter's name?
She's called Isabel.
Isabel, that's it. She ended up going on air, didn't she, the same day?
Yeah, I came into the studio and then walked straight into one of the studios.
Stuart and Anne actually came and grabbed hold and said, do you want to come on the show? And it all just happened really quick. And I had to start getting the forms out.
Yeah,
and,
you got the forms out.
We were all good.
No, she's good. She really enjoyed that day, actually. So thank you for that. It was good. And,
Good.
Never got to hear the actual finished product, but
You didn't?
no.
What, your show or the show with Isabel?
The show with Isabel.
All right. Well, you could obviously just go onto the website, Salford City Radio, and then you can click on any show and you can always listen to the last 3 shows that have aired.
Right.
Yeah.
Great.
Salford City Radio, by the way, we've raised quite a lot of money, and we're getting there for a bigger mast. And you apply for this license. It's taken, I think, 12 years, and they've eventually got the license, which means that rather than just have around Salford and have a listenership of, say, 50,000 people, something like that, it's going to be the whole of the Northwest. So it's going to increase, the reach of the radio massively.
Fantastic.
So it's quite exciting.
Well, the pressure's not on for you then, is it?
No.
That's fantastic. That's
good news.
No, good
Yeah.
luck. Good luck with it.
And Wesley,
Yes.
children.
Yes.
Yes.
Jacob. I know where this one's going. I've created a monster. I can't even drive with him in the car anymore. It's becoming ridiculous.
What's that?
We were sat at the traffic lights the other day and a car come through on Box Junction and he looked at me and he looked out the windscreen. He looked at me again and he went, "What a muppet, Dad."
Where's he heard that?
I have no idea. I'm taking no responsibility for this one whatsoever.
Yeah. He's a beautiful young boy, and when I came to your house and he'll come up, give you a big hug and a kiss, say good night, and
honestly, he keeps me on my toes. He's everything I get to see him every weekend. We go out, we do things, we build things, we paint things.
Yeah.
So I want him to play an instrument as well, because I never got to do any of them growing up. But I'm just trying to get it so he can do the things that I didn't get to do.
I get, this is what my life's like. I get random phone calls and messages or little videos sent to me saying, listen to this. And then there's a bearded man playing Mexican guitar down on the video.
I've only been playing 7 weeks. Give me a break. No, because recently you went to, I believe, Mexico.
I know, and that's why it was relevant. It was really good.
I picked up the guitar and then I heard this. I learned the chords because I thought, where do you put your fingers on this thing? And I thought, right, pick it up. And then I just heard this tune in my head. I thought, that sounds a bit Spanishy, that. I thought, I'll send him that. So away I went with it.
Yeah, it was really good. So maybe we'll talk about, we've done expressing yourself, which is what you're going through now, what you're doing at the minute, Wes, which is wonderful, but also decompressing, which is really more along the lines of, I know you were looking at setting up a facility, Darren, a compound maybe, with caravans and allotments for a place where people can go with possibly mental health issues, but also maybe ex-servicemen, where you can go and have a period of time where you can adjust and decompress.
The whole thing about the Mind Corps CIC is the retreat and training centre that we're aiming to set up. Within this, it's going to be maybe an 8 to 12 week programme where guys can come over who've got the mental health issues. They'll be working on the site to keep it tidy, keep it and build it. There'll be an allotment area where they can express themselves, grow things, keep them occupied. There'll be a gym area where they can work on their fitness. We're also looking at their nutrition again, which is a really good important part when it comes to mental health and how it keeps your mind going properly. The mind-body connection in itself is what we're aiming for. It's got a full package. We're looking at careers advice. We're looking at any general advice regarding homing, banking, money matters, things like that.
Running groups there as well, therapy, all
absolutely.
All this,
yeah. So the therapy side will come thing with the NLP, neuro-linguistic programming and cognitive behavioural therapy, coaching, all that kind of stuff that's going to come into play, and then bringing guys forward into their mindset. And again, this is where it comes from with the traffic accident. Is that at the time it was about, as soon as that impact happened, it was about, where do I stay here or do I move forward?
Yeah.
And then it was a case of move forward and get out of the way. Because if I had stayed in that position where I was, I'd have been the third fatality. There's no doubt about it. So it was about moving forward, moving the vehicle forward, getting it out of the way. Then you're able to look and to help yourself and help others around you. So the same with the Mind Corps is that it's about moving forward, stopping people from where they are at now. You know, this is the now. We forget about the past in a sense that we don't have to keep going over it. We can go back to it and take the lessons and learn from it, but we can moving forward all the time. And the same with the Mind Corps, the retreat is moving forward and moving everything. It's such an impacted thing. It's all in one and moving people forward.
Two things I'd like to say there. One is there's a quote in the book I wrote and it says, don't fall down, fall forward. This is still progress. Moving forward. And the title of my second book, which is imminent, is Moving Forward, Learning How to Glide. Elevating yourself and propelling yourself forward using surrounding energies with zero resistance, with zero effort, in harmony with natural law. Moving forward.
Absolutely. And that's where we need to be.
What maybe a lot of people listening to this will be surprised about is that although you do close personal protection and security, you also are an NLP practitioner.
Yes, master practitioner of NLP.
Seems like an unusual step. There's not many ex-doormen that probably are NLP practitioners.
Going back to what we were saying before, and it was something that came into mind, the three of us have all got such a connection in a sense of where we've actually changed with the transition from where we were before. You've explained where you've come from. Wes talks about how his past is. Same with mine. People who know me, very much like you guys, when I started telling people that I was doing NLP and looking at coaching and helping people moving, coming out of their issues, the response was, Darren, you're the type of person who slams somebody up against the wall, gives them a slap around the face and say, wake up, get on with it. That was
me. In the supermarket.
That was just... Get me that thing on the top shelf.
I was doing 7 o'clock in the morning.
I told you, the big box of cornflakes.
But it is, the change, where we've come from before... We were aggressive. We were angry. I mean, to some extent, we still do it now. There's no two ways about it. It makes me chuckle when I hear people. When I hear him in the car, he's on the phone. He's like, even on the way there tonight.
Can I just say, I don't. My life's perfect.
Yeah,
perfectly crazy.
Yeah.
But where we've come from with that change, what we've done, we've changed and transitioned forward. It is I've done the NLP side of things, and when I first did it, what I was looking for is how to get people to communicate better. Communication is the key to anything we do in life. It's as simple as that, and I'll argue with anybody who says no. But communication, getting people to communicate better, understanding things, listening more, which is just as much more. It's more about communication than anything else.
It's a good point, because if we don't communicate, then you're one.
Yeah.
You're on your own. Nobody knows how you feel. You don't know how they feel. You're isolated. You're separated. When you start to communicate, you become many. You become connected. You become unified, and you become part of a community.
Yeah,
So communication is critical.
So that was the side of the NLP, getting the people to communicate better. But then when doing the courses and getting into it a bit more, I just found it was something I had to pursue. I had to finish. Like you with your guitar, I had to, because you're always starting something but never finishing anything. So it was something I was really driven for, and it was how to help people within the private security sector, of how we can help guys with PTSD who've not.
Well, when you first told me about Mind Corps, when we met the night of the orchestra, and I mentioned to you, when you come out of the army, I'm just saying it from an army point of view, when I got diagnosed with PTSD, a lot of people will say, right, go to the British Legion, go to the UK Veterans, go to combat stress. And it was like, no, I just need a friend. I don't want to sit down in a group. I mean, there's that delay, if you will. You want to sit back and go, well, I'm not ready to sit down with a load of people just yet. Do you know what I mean? And when Darren explained about Mind Corps and what he wants to do, I thought it was an amazing idea. So when he asked me to do the stand-up, I was like, yeah, of course I'll do it, because I know there's nothing out there. There's no gap from leaving the armed forces to get help straight away. And I don't know if people are aware that the NHS have cut the funding for combat stress. Combat stress doesn't exist anymore.
I didn't know that.
They cut it last week. I was under care of combat stress, and I had an overnight stopover due at the end of February, and they said that they could no longer treat me, because the NHS have cut the funding for combat stress. So there's a lot of veterans out there now that haven't got the care.
They need more funding, not less. I find that incredible, but
it happened last week.
It's to community-based programs now, hasn't it? The combat stress will still work in Scotland and Ireland.
I believe so. Yeah.
But England and Wales have been cut back now.
Yeah. I mean, in the first book, I write about the fact that, and it's common knowledge now, that certainly in America, for example, there's more troops that come back from combat that have been in the armed forces, taking their own life, than are killed in a war zone or killed in combat. And that still astounds me. I find that incredible. And I think 30% of them, soldiers, when they come back, all suffer within 3 months, are all diagnosed with serious mental health problems. And that doesn't mean like mild. That means major, significant problems where they can't function properly in life.
Yeah, I mean, I can talk about it now, and on our previous shows, I take one saying, if you will, out your book, is you can't build the truth on a lie. Where I turned to drugs when I came out of the army. I wasn't proud of it. My family didn't know. I kept it hidden for years, for the fact that I couldn't sleep. I was addicted to drugs. I was drinking, and but nothing was helping. Also, I mean, the doctors started me on antidepressants, and my life just was upside down. I thought, this has to stop. And so one morning I woke up and I thought, I can't do this anymore unless I've been to combat stress, I'd been to military veterans, I'd been to the NHS, I'd been under doctors, and when Darren told me about what he wanted to do and what he wants to achieve with the training centre, I thought it's an amazing idea, and I hope people get behind it.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
It was my hypnosis training that got him to agree to do the comedian show. That was the thing.
I agree. I agree. Yes.
Look into my eyes.
Look into my eyes.
How far have you got with it, Darren, at this stage? Have you? I know you at the minute you're in the process of trying to raise the funds to kickstart this and get it moving. How's that going?
It's going okay. It's had a bit of a stall. Obviously, we've got Christmas period and stuff like that, and the start of the new year, so it's difficult. And that's why we brought in the events. We've got a couple of acts. We've got 2 shows so far booked. Wesley?
Yeah.
Have we?
Shwadi are delighted about the booking.
Freddie and the pacemakers.
That's where I knew you from. It's the Flying Pickets, isn't
Yeah,
it? So yeah,
I don't.
we've got. If you
It
don't
was better
mind,
than Shane McGowan. That's where I know you from. You had that #1 Christmas hit.
but no, we got the first one. Well, we've got one booked for the 11th of April.
Where's
That
that?
soon?
Darren?
11th of April. You never told me that.
Oh, I did. You just put it off.
Oh.
The 11th of April. The first one's going to be in Hindley. It's St. Peter's Pavilion in Hindley, in Wigan.
Yeah.
Hoping we can get enough people in for that.
When we finish the show, will you tell me the dates? I'm going to write them down and I'm going to put them in my calendar and I'm going to try and make sure that nothing's planned around that because obviously I want to come. So,
Well, I'd expect you there.
Definitely coming. Some of the gags are wrote about you to start with.
that's why I need to be there. I need to supervise.
The second one at the moment we've got potentially we've got the Forgotten Sons. Is a band. We've got again Mr. Wesley Dyson, and we may have a gentleman called James Reed. Just going to make sure he has preliminary booked, so it's going to be good. So that will be at the Littleborough Cricket Club, and that's on the
Littleborough, is that Rochdale way?
Yes,
Yeah,
just
right.
Twice. I'm doing this twice now, am I? I'm doing it twice now, apparently.
Wait till I tell you about the others. No, we've got two. Like I say, just the two, and that's going to be the 1st of May.
1st of May.
Yeah. So the idea is hopefully we can get enough people to come along, buy the tickets, get them booked in. It'll be on a first come, first serve. So it's going to be good nights. They are going to be good nights. I'm absolutely sure of it. Dreading it, but I'm looking forward to it.
He just said, I'm better off putting them in my diary. I'm better off putting them in mine. I don't even know when they are.
That'd be a good idea, wouldn't it? I'm going to plug something myself now, and that is the audiobook to the first book, From Pills to Peace. I've just done the final sort of review of it, and that's now been sent to Audible, which is also part of Amazon, which is ACX, which is also iTunes, and I can't remember the other one. And that'll be out in about 14 days.
Fantastic.
Awesome.
Well done.
So, yeah.
Well, so you can download that from iTunes,
iTunes,
Amazon,
Audible, Amazon, whatever. Yeah.
Amazon Music. I've got Amazon Music. I can download it.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah. So that'll be out, and it was the first one, so it was a massive learning curve. But as soon as the second book's published, then I'm going to be straight down and do the second audio. But I'm not going to leave it as long this time. I'm just going to go and get the second one done straight away. But yeah, I've been listening to it. I've had to listen to it twice over the weekend, and it's 6 hours long. So I've had to 12 hours of my own voice. It was wonderful.
I'll be ringing them up saying, PJ, can I lend a tenner? Why? Well, to download your audio.
I don't know how much it is. When you go through ACX, there's two ways you can do it, and you have different deals. And one is to take a larger percentage, but they have total control. The other is to take a much smaller percentage, but then you keep control of your book, so you can use other sellers. But to be honest, they're the main people. You know, there's at this stage, there isn't many other vendors that you'd go to, and you get a larger proportion, but they set the price. So I think what they do is they base it on what your book sells for, and also then the length of the audio book, and then they come up with the price. So I honestly don't know how much it's going to cost.
It's all right. You're going to be needing to speak to my daughter soon, because she's trying to put a book of herself together at the moment. She's doing really, really well. She's looking at. We've sent loads of pictures of different years when she's done things, and she's looking. So I'm going to be needing your expertise.
Well, you can certainly have that. You can have that, absolutely. Yeah. So, gentlemen, let's have a look. We've got about 5 minutes left on this show at the minute. So,
as long as I'm not doing voices, jokes, or anything, I'm going to
say.
Funny enough,
I just had it in my head. I thought we should have had some examples.
No,
well, you did them. You did them in the interval.
What, the voices?
Yes.
What, Joe Bye? What, Peaky Blinders?
Yeah.
The Peaky Blinders.
All right, brother.
Is it Arthur?
No, Joe Bye. That's Arthur. Yeah.
Oh right, yeah.
Who was the other one?
It was Tom.
Oh, Tom Alfie Sullivan.
Alfie Sullivan.
What is it? It's if this is how it looks like, a lot like Margate. Yeah.
Is that Tom Hardy?
Yeah, Tom Hardy.
Tom Hardy.
Alfie Solomon's character.
Yeah.
Plays an amazing part in that. But no, on the night, like I said, it's going to be observational coming down. Going to try and get the audience members roped in as well.
Yeah.
I need about £10 worth of trolley tokens because I've noticed I am never going to a trolley shed again when a couple's there. It's like, I had my trolley token the other day, like blokes going, yeah, I know, but I'll give it you back. So, well, I've not got it. And she goes, she turns to her husband and says, well, you're going to have to buy a new one. And he goes, well, how much are they? And she went, £1. He goes, if I had £1, I'd have put it in the trolley. And I was just absolutely doubled over in hysterics. I thought, do you know what?
You meet those people that, they don't actually have £1, but they have a special gizmo,
yeah,
like a keyring that has things that look like pounds. And the funny thing is, it usually has 2 or 3 in, and it costs 2 or 3 quid.
Exactly.
So
I was stood there and I was watching this couple, and I was absolutely belly laughing. And they just both looked at me. I thought I'd better move myself away from it now. But yeah, trolley tokens can save a marriage. So next time you're out shopping, buy a trolley token.
Yep. So, folks at home, you can listen to Salford City Radio every Monday night at 11 p.m. for the Mind, Body and Spirit show, or midnight till midnight. It's 11 till 12 p.m. If you missed the show, it's 94.4 FM, but you can listen to it again on the website. You just go on and click on schedule and then listen again for Midnight McBride. Also, my book, From Pills to Peace, is available on Amazon in about at least a dozen other places now. It's been a best-selling book for self-help, I suppose I'd call it, but also about my journey into meditation, From Pills to Peace. Then my audiobook is due out in about 10 days' time. The second book is due out in about 8 to 10 weeks, the final product. And then there's other projects that I'm involved with, one with Wesley that we're looking into now for a book of poetry as well. And I've got social media channels, which include LinkedIn, Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, and a website, midnightmcbride.com. I think I've pretty much covered everything.
Been busy, haven't you?
Yeah. I'm going to leave you with a quote, ladies and gentlemen, and that is, when you think from a beautiful garden, you see flowers everywhere. And that's the main quote off the book. I hope you've enjoyed the show. I'm going to be doing one of these every week. Thank you, Darren Seigenberg.
Thank you. Midnight.
Thank you, Wesley Dyson.
More than welcome. It's been a pleasure.
It's been fun. It's been emotional, and we'll see you soon.
Thank you.
Thank you. You're right, brother.
Hey, that's good.
He's good at it.
I've been with him.
Well, Alfie Solomon is like, this is how it looks a lot like Margate. Right, isn't it? Come to smoke, you shall die in hell.
So now I can just let the cameras, I'll go up, I'll knock them off, start them again and we roll.
Brilliant.
Yeah.
Brilliant.
What's really annoying is I didn't press record on that. But don't worry, that's why I've got 5 backups of audio. So the audio... Listen.
I'm looking at that sign that says fucking breathe. I'm breathing. I'm breathing.
Listen. Grab that. Now, I'm going to sing it, and all you have to come in is on the willow.
Right.
Okay.
Right? You reckon you can manage it?
Yeah. So we just say willow?
In the right place.
Oh,
not randomly.
Are we going to do the last one together? We've got to do 2 hours together.
It's like thinking I could do that like off. Do you remember what was it called? Willow. What was it called? That thing in that film. What was it called? Willow.
What's the labyrinth of the
No,
Willow?
No, it
There's a film called Willow.
Oh, Willow. It was Warwick Davis, wasn't it? The dude that was R2D2. Oh no, it was in Star Wars, wasn't it?
Listen, I sing this,
Right.
and you just come in on Willow, so we'll have a practice.
Willow.
This is like for an outtake thing or whatever, yeah? So.
Okay.
What's your favourite name? Willow. What's your favourite tree? Willow. What's your favourite movie? Willow. Who's your favourite British host, presenter, kind of person on every 4th show? Willow. Right, that's the practice. We'll do it once more, yeah? What's your favourite name? Willow. What's your favourite tree? Willow. What's your favourite movie? Willow. Who's your favourite radio show host, presenter, kind of every person on every fourth show? Willow. Oh dear.
I love everyone. Who's your favourite radio show? Said the kind of person on every fourth show. Willow. What's the movie called? He goes, Willow.
You still are you? No, it's not that. No, it's called Willow.
Right. This one, you come in at the beginning, so it's Willow, it's close to midnight. Willow, it's time to go. Willow, you're on the show now. Willow, what do you know? Right?
Right.
So,
Okay.
Willow. Wait a minute.
I've never seen three grown blokes. We should go on X Factor.
Come on, mate. We're going to run out of film. Go on. No, that's wrong, mate. Willow, it's close to midnight. Willow, it's time to go. Willow, what do you know now? Willow, you're on the show. Something like that.
Yeah.
Willow, you're on the show. Wrong. 1, 2. That's it. Got it.
You know what?
Willow, it's close to midnight. Willow, it's time to go. Willow, you're on the show now. Willow, what do you know?
Willow. Do you know what? I always thought Sam McKell was a bit of a toss back. You know, I know his pain sat there going like that.